Alright guys, I got this skunk stretched out on my fleshing beam here. First thing with the skunk, just take your time. You're seeing me wearing gloves. I never wear gloves unless I'm working with a skunk. Even if they don't stink, the fat on them still has a little bit of an odor. And I don't want to smell like a skunk. Weeby Elite, double-sided fleshing knife, dull side, sharp side. On a skunk, you very rarely will have to use your sharp side of your knife. Everything pushes off. Once you get started behind that fat, this is a bigger skunk. Oh, my beam's squeaking like crazy. Skunks are pretty easy to do. Don't push too hard. They are very thin-skinned critters. If you push too hard, I've noticed on a couple of the first skunks I did that I got tanned, you push too hard and you get to see the hair follicles. When you go to have them tanned, there'll be a bald spot because that hair will come out during the tanning process. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this at all. Don't be afraid. Everybody I think's afraid of skunks. Don't be afraid of skunks. Oh, you got a tough spot. Just take your time. Don't get crazy. Once you do enough, I might have to use my sharp side to get through this up here. Right between the shoulders, just like on any animal, a raccoon, they're a little tougher right between the shoulders. So sometimes you do gotta use the sharp side to get through it. Flip your knife over and push, and it'll usually come right off. Come right off. I pay a little more attention to mine. You don't really have to go any further up than this, than the ears, really. But I send all mine in to have tanned. All my skunks get tanned. They're not really, I don't feel like the fur buyer gives you enough. It gives you what they're worth. Nobody else wants to mess with them. They should pay us guys that, that do mess with them. They should pay us what they're worth. Once you do enough, you'll know when enough is enough, when you're far enough. You don't need to go any further. So you don't want to hit the follicles. If you start seeing hair coming through this side of the hide, you went too far. I done one skunk already today and he went easy. This is a little bit older skunk. He's going to be a little tougher. I am going to have to use my sharp side. This is not my normal fleshing beam. My normal fleshing beam is too big. I can't put the skunks on it. So I got this little piece of pipe. Or a piece of pipe and made me a little fleshing beam for these smaller critters. If you're just starting out, you're gonna cut a hole. That's my advice to guys just starting out. Practice on something that's not worth much. Possum. Possum's real thin skin too, so if you get good at doing possums, you can do about anything. And this one is going to push a little harder. All right. It'll all just push all the way down. Only place there's really any slicing needed is up here by the head and the shoulders. Get that section right there done. I'll turn it a little. Pulling down on there tight. This skunk does no smell to him. He did when I got him out of the trap. He didn't full out spray, but he dribbled a little. So I gave him a skunk bath. It takes the smell right out. I see why he sprayed a little. When I shot him, I didn't hit him in a very good spot. Skunks, I found when you're dispatching them, shoot them behind the front legs, in the lungs. Do not shoot them in the head. If you shoot them in the head, you're about guaranteed every time you're going to have a stinky mess. You shoot the skunks in the lungs, just like you would a deer. They'll just walk around in circles for a little bit and then lay down and go to sleep. Never wake up. This skunk I caught in one of the traps I had set for bobcats. So that was disappointing. But a catch is a catch. I'll take it either way. Be real careful on the belly. They got nipples, and you will rip the nipple right through. I am going to make a different flesh and beam too. I don't really like this one, but it's what I got for now. I'm going to make one a little bit narrower. Oh, see, there's a nipple. Right there. Right there's a nipple. You can hear it when you run your fleshing knife over it. There's a bullet hole. Be careful there so you don't snag it and rip it wide open. This one's being kind of a pain. They're usually real easy. Just push right off. That other one I had done already this morning, I was done. Only took me about 5 minutes and I was done. All the way, completely done. You don't really take much pressure on this knife at all. Just be careful for their nipples. I still, when I'm doing coons, I'll still get in a hurry and I'll grab a nipple and rip a big hole. But what's nice about coons is they get a big viewing window cut in them. So most of the time, I just make the viewing window a little bit bigger to get rid of that hole I just sliced in it. This was a male skunk. So there's a spot down here where his wee-wee was at. Once you get this section here pretty well cleaned up, like so, take him and rotate him just a little bit more. There's one little strip left. Like I said, I clean the face up a little bit more because I send all my skunks in to have tan. If you're selling them, you don't have to do what I'm doing up here. You start at the ears and go down. More than enough for the fur buyers. Because I don't believe, unless they're selling them to somebody that's making hats or something, I don't really think they want to use the faces for nothing anyhow. All my skunks that I get, the majority of the time, get skinned out in the field because my wife doesn't like the smell. If one of them happens to have a little odor when I bring it home, she don't like that smell in the garage. So I skin all my skunks out in the tree. The smell doesn't really bother me. A little tough getting here around the legs sometimes. Just take your time and work at it. You'll get it. I must have shot this one twice. Most of the time, a skunk takes very little effort. I'm trying to go a little bit faster here so we don't have a 30-minute video on fleshing a skunk. I see what I did there. I just moved there's a leg right there. I just put that leg right on the point of my fleshing beam. And that opens up all this fat right here. I get the rest of that off of there. Rotating them around, working it down. There's another. I shot him twice. I couldn't remember. These older, bigger skunks are a little bit more work. Still not bad. The younger they are, the easier they are. These older ones get tough, just like we do. Gristly, tough. And that fleshing beam creaking is really annoying. Push the flesh right off the end. Sometimes you'll notice you'll get a hair or two. You get a hair or two in your fat, that's all right. It ain't hurting nothing. It's just pulling some of these off the edge. There, we got under it. Once you get under that layer of that membrane that's on there, between the fat and the actual leather, it goes pretty smooth. Sometimes just takes a little bit to get under it. The first skunk I ever did, I didn't realize, I guess, that they were so thin skin, and I had holes everywhere. The more you do, the better you get. When we get to the tail, it gets a little bit different. This one been dead for a couple days, so he kind of started to dry out a little bit already, so it's going to be a little more different. They make a tool for doing this, but I just use my knife to split the tails. Ooh, there's a little ice in there yet. That sucks. Break it up a little bit so I can get my knife in there. You got to get these tails split. Uh-oh, there's a piece of bone. No wonder. All right, that's fine. His tail must have pulled off a little bit when I was skinning him. No big deal, it'll come right out. Cut around it a little bit here. Careful not to cut through it. Should just grab here and pull. Oh, I pull a little bit of the end off. Their tails are very, very soft. You get to the tail, you got to be real careful, because you'll pull it all the way off of there and you won't have a tail on your skunk. And then it don't even really look like a skunk. The tail's the cool part. Just got to be careful. Yeah. And when they get a little bit dried out, that doesn't help either. I think I got this skunk, what is today? Monday? I think I got this skunk on Friday. So he's been sitting here in my garage for a couple days. That's why they dry out like this a little bit. And I didn't have a fire going every day, so it got cold in here, and I'm pretty sure that's why I didn't do this one right away, because I think he was frozen. When they dry out, it makes them a little tougher. So if you got, that's with any animal, coyotes, coons, skunks, anything. If they dry out, if you skin them and don't flush them right away, and they dry out, you're just making a little bit more work for yourself. It'll come off. It just takes a lot more doing. I hope I'm not going to show you how not to do this here and pull this tail off, but it's a whole lot slower going when it dries out. Might even have to even do this. If it's pushing too hard and you don't want to tear your tail off. They don't have a whole lot of fat in their tail. So it's not really crucial that you do a whole lot of work back here, because you will pull the tail off or rip it. I just go over. I am not putting any pressure pushing down on just the weight of the knife I'm doing right now. Yeah, before I screw that up, I'm going to quit there. You can see right here, this little spot right here is dried out. Leave it on there. It'll dry out more on the stretcher. So you can trim some of these. Every critter's got these little tendons in their tail. Oh, missed it. And sometimes the flushing knife don't take off. And that's it. Give it a whip. Flush skunk. Pretty easy to do. Not at all hard to do. Don't be scared of a skunk. Well, that's it, guys. What did it take? Geez, 20 minutes. So, if you guys got any questions, leave a comment. I'll try and answer them, or if it's something that you want to see, I'll make a video about it. Otherwise, like the video. If you want to see more like this, subscribe. Share it with your friends. We'll see you on the next one.